Hello everybody and welcome to the first round of the 2025 season of DMP, the Polish Drift Championship. My name is Brandon Carter and we're joined with Kean Reedy as my co-commentator today.
All right, thanks Brandon. You ready?
We are ready. We are here to go. All the drivers are here ready for their first runs in qualifying. The weather is insane in Poland today at Słomczyn track. It is looking insane. There you can see our Polish commentators alongside us. And I'm so excited to kick the season off.
Yeah, I'm really excited, especially with this track, round one. It's such a technical track. That beautiful drone shot we have there of the track. So there's a lot that goes into this. We were watching practices there earlier on. A lot of drivers getting in some really tight technical runs. And as you can see, our layout there for the season. So we're starting here today, round one in Tor Słomczyn. And we got 4 rounds this season. So I'm excited for the season, Brandon. How are you feeling?
It is going to be insane. Obviously, a lot of these layouts are very technical, very fast as well. Like, when we say technical, do not think that they are going to be easy. It can be very technical. But as you can see, we've got a semi-pro class live now. And then later on at 3:10 in the afternoon in Polish time, we'll be going on to our pro qualifying as well.
Yeah, exactly. Both classes today doing qualifying, and then tomorrow we have our battles in semi-pro and pro. So I'm looking forward to this. We've got a lot of big names in pro class. We have a lot of new names to me and you, Brandon, in semi-pro class. But watching some of the practice, wow, we're in for a treat, I think, this weekend. Doing a lot of research too into both of these classes. There's a lot of drivers here that we could definitely see on the Drift Masters stage, even, I believe, very soon. Especially with tracks like this, they're very technical. You've got a little bit of a bank here on the last corner. You've got a really short run up into a very committed entry, and throughout the whole track then, judges really looking for the fluidity throughout the whole track. They're really marking down on angle being put on really quickly, taken away really quickly, the same as you would in any other championship. But on this track in particular, the judges are really looking for fluidity and commitment at the same time, which can be a balancing act for drivers, but we'll have to see how the drivers handle that through this lovely layout.
Definitely indeed. Personally, as a driver myself, looking at this layout is both intimidating, but it looks like it'd be a lot of fun. So it's going to be interesting to see how the semi-pro drivers and the pro drivers differ in the way they take this layout. As you can see, you've got that Manji section in the middle. That is going to be a very interesting point, as if you check up at any point in that, it can really make a difference in battles and qualifying. And there's a lot of long sweeping corners going into here. As you can see, all of these outside clips and zones is going to make it very technical. The judges want to see the rear wheels as close as they can to the outside of those outer clip boxes, and that is where they're going to be scoring the most points that they can get. So they're going to have to push it to the limit, but hopefully,
yeah, absolutely. Like talking to the judges there earlier on, like even some of the boxes there, you can see they're offset a little bit inside. So the judges really want to see the rear wheels being run on literally on the line, as close to that line as possible without dropping wheels outside of the box. If they do drop wheels outside that box, they will be deducted, which I know there's a lot of runoff there, but that's really just for safety and for making sure that people aren't deducting and going 00. But really what the judges want to see here is your rear wheels perfectly onto that white line or the outer edge of that box. I think for this track is sector 3 there, where we come from outer zone 2, 3, and 4. We can see our lovely judges there. We've got David Kalas, Karol Jablinski, Mateusz Jedzic, and Pyri Vikula from 2 from Poland, 1 from Sweden, and 1 from the Czech nation. So hopefully these judges will be well impressed today with all these qualifying scores. And you can see our start list here. So up first in qualifying, we've got Camille Zachary. We've got a load of nice, lovely cars coming up here as well. A lot of cars that we don't get to see an awful lot, Brandon, in our countries. 200 SXs. We got very few of them here in Ireland, I know that much. But we've got some standard enough cars that we'd see a lot of E46s, a lot of BMWs around the place. S chassis, again, they're around, but 200 SX is slightly different to what we would be seeing. As we make our way down, we have the rest of our drivers, 15 drivers in our semi-pro class today. So hopefully we will see some very, very big scoring runs through this track. I'm very excited.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so we have our first driver at the line, which is Camille, in that beautiful S13 hatch, looking very aggressive with the number 998. Looking very good. Obviously, a Polish national driver, so he's going to be going full send for us as our start line judge start line marshal, should I say, gets him to watch the lights. As the lights go green, here we go. Your first run of the 2025 season of DMP. Here we go, big flick initiation, looking very tidy so far. Nicely through that first inner clip to outer zone 2, looking good. Could have been a bit deeper though, as he comes around into the transition, going to outer 3. Ooh, just missing on that first out in that middle outer clip on that sector 3. Maybe just struggling with a bit of grip there, maybe a bit too much, as the line is going to be very important as he comes through and has a little bobble and waver as he comes across the line.
Yeah, very kind of good in parts, but very scrappy in other parts as well with this run. So nicely initiation through inner clip 1 and then out to outer zone 2, just halfway through that box, running about a beeline there as he transitions back through that Manji section. He wants to place the car perfectly middle between the cones and the outer edge of the track. Lovely there through outer zone 3 and completely missing outer zone 3, missing there. As he works his way back up onto outer zone 4 there, nice technical there, but coming into this last section here, drops half a wheel there, even maybe a full wheel as he comes around into the last clip, but then getting kind of choked up there. There is a bank on that corner you can't really see on stream, but then dropping wheels on the outer edge there. So I'm not sure how the judges are gonna like that one from Camille, but I hope it's points on the board anyway. A lot of that run was very, very judgeable, in my opinion. I think he could get a lot of points for some parts of that run, but again, missing a whole zone, dropping wheels. But this is the first run of the 2025 season, so all to be played for in his second run as we wait for the scores to drop in there from the judges.
Yeah, I would not want to be the first person to be the first car and driver on the start line, really, and putting down the first bit of rubber in the official start of the season. That's quite a daunting way to start, really, I'd say. And obviously, grip conditions are always changing with temperature changes, and it's just one of those things where, unfortunately, he got caught out by the line. Didn't find the right spot as he went into outer 3, and it just really caught him out. But hopefully, in the second run, he'll be able to find that correct line going through sector 3, as we have a 69 on the board for Camille. So not a bad start, but definitely one that can be improved. So hopefully we'll see a bit of improvement in the second run.
Yeah, absolutely. So not a bad score. Obviously, we can see all of them scores split out between style, angle, and line. as we get our next driver up on the line, number 505, and that would be Zamfir Hickory in that BMW E46 as we wait for the lights to go green.
Indeed, that E46, I love the livery on that. It is looking very nice with those purple and yellows, but Zamfir, the car looks good, but is your driving just as good as he flicks it in now into the initiation, hitting in at the clip 1 very nicely. Very fluid, very fast as well. Lots of speed. This is what judges want to see, is a nice clear line, but just dropping 2 wheels off, going into that big section of the track, and unfortunately that is going to be a big deduction, but he manages to bring it back, and he's going to try and save the run as much as he can in that E46. We're dropping once again and across the line. That is very unfortunate for his first run.
Yeah, a lot of commitment in that run now, but I do believe that will be a 0 due to the 2 wheel drops there. I think that first wheel drop on sector 3 after this Manji section here, you can see he flicks back and just catches the decel a little bit wrong, maybe just getting washed that little bit wide, and yeah, that's 2 wheels off there, nearly 3. So I believe that will be a 0 on the board for Zamfir. But the rest of this run looking very tidy, nice through every other clipping zone that he did manage to hit properly. And again, this corner here is going to catch a lot of people. Like that bank, and then it does flatten out. You do manage to catch it very wrong, and you go onto the runoff. And it is very, very hard to get right, I would imagine, for these drivers, especially after coming off an off season as well, when maybe you haven't gotten a whole lot of driving in or a whole lot of practice in. And this could be something that's just first track, first qualifying session of the year jitters, as we do get a 0 for Zamfir in that E46, unfortunately. Hopefully for him to do it all on his second run.
Indeed, that was less than ideal, obviously, for your first run, but obviously these are your banker laps, so you kind of also gauge what you can and what you can't do.
Absolutely. So an E92 here of our third driver on the line, which is Burian Valklav.
Yeah, you're going to have to bear with us on the names.
Yeah, the names are bad. It'll be better tomorrow. As he leaves the line now, Burian is very slow coming up to the line as he weight transfers that E92 into the first inner clip, out to the second clip, transitions through that Manji section, around through sector 3. Lovely line. This is the best line I think we've seen through here today so far. Perfect out on that last outer zone 4 as he comes through outer zone 5. Will he get outer zone 6? Perfect. Oh, yes. Just a little bit wide, but that was very lovely from Burian in that E92. Gorgeous, gorgeous run there. I think that might be the highest scoring qualifying we've seen so far.
I mean, it's just all down to that initiation, I think. That's going to be where the make or break is in the points for him. As it just was not very. It was a very hesitated initiation, and I think that could be docked down, as the judges were saying to us earlier, that they want to see full commitment, no slowing down, no hesitation. They need full speed going into that first corner, as it can really choke up the chase. So we'll have to see what they say about that, as it could be a massive difference between getting high points or low points.
Yeah, exactly. Like the initiation here, we were talking to David Class earlier on, and he was saying that initiation is critical for the guys here. It is a short run up, so you need to be fully committed coming into that initiation. You need to be pretty much full throttle and then transfer the car, and there you go, 75 on the board for Burian Vaclav in that E92. Lovely score there. He'll be happy with that. Top in qualifying for the moment.
He looks very young, doesn't he?
He does look very young.
Very young.
I might have to ask his age from somebody.
But we have...
So, next driver.
Yes, we have Ivan. I couldn't get a chance to see his last name there. Ivan Zubchuk, I think that was?
Zubchuk, yeah. Ivan Zubchuk,
yes.
In a BMW E82, apparently, according to my thing.
Might be an E82 with E46 panels, but either way, it looks really cool. I'm pretty sure this is a fellow teammate to one of the previous drivers that just went.
M2 E46, I'm being told.
Interesting.
Here.
Looking very nice though, but as he comes into inner clip 1, dialing it into outer 2. Oh, but just dropping a bit too much there. Getting a bit wild in the mountain section. You don't want to be going too deep, but manages to bring it back, coming around nicely around the sector 3 corner now, transitioning around. Oh, but loses his front bumper. What is going on here? The panel just not going to be on the car as he comes around the last bit, maybe just dropping the tyre there, but across the line.
I thought he DB'd a tyre there after that wheel drop, but obviously not. He managed to get around the rest of the corner. So as he comes through into clip 1 here, it's lovely, and right out to clip 2 here. Now, as he transitions, he just gets it that little bit wrong, drops that one wheel into the dirt. But the rest of this run quite nice here as he just about hits that outer clip coming into this big corner here. And again, just about getting the outer zone 3. Coming around to outer zone 4 here, nice and tight onto that, fairly good there as he transitions back. Again, just getting the outer edge of that clip and then drifting, not getting that outer clip perfectly. He drifts a little bit wide of that clip and across the line he goes. We'll see what the judges make of that and what they score it, but quite scrappy for a first run. He's got a lot to do on his second run, I believe.
Indeed, it was just a bit too much commitment in certain areas where he didn't need to commit, and unfortunately I think that has punished him a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a fine line with this track between commitment and trying to balance that out to get some fluidity into the car, and I think he really went on the commitment side there, so maybe dials it back a little bit for his second run, gets the fluidity into the car. He will be looking at quite a high score there and just trying to nail them clipping points, because again, especially in this last section, if you come from outer zone 4 to outer zone 5 and you don't hit them two perfect, you're messing yourself direly for outer zone 6 and going across that line. You can set yourself up to be very wide of that outer zone 6.
Definitely, it is not an easy track to be working with for sure. Obviously, you can see the zones are split apart quite a bit, so you have to essentially let the car hold itself out and then push it out at the perfect time. It's a balancing act with everything on this track. So kudos to all the drivers that are sending it today, as this is definitely not an easy one, especially with I don't know what the temperatures are like, but I know it's warm.
Yeah, it definitely looks warm there, and as well, with it being warm, you can see a lot of things starting to creep in with cars that a lot of people don't necessarily tend to think about if you're new to drifting. As we get a score in for Zubchuk, 54 on the board, so yeah, a lot of work to do on a second run. But as I was saying, with the grip levels and stuff, when it's hot, that track gets hot. These guys are running tires that are spinning very, very fast, and they get hot, so all of that adds up and it creates a lot of grip, and a lot of these cars actually just have a lot of mechanical grip anyway. So if you're really gripped up, it's very easy to drift either very far inside or very far outside of the clip, depending on what way you have your car set up. So we'll see here how the rest of the grid handle this for the rest of the day, but it looks to be that there's a lot of grip out there as we have this E92 of Mateusz Wodzerik. Again, don't shoot me for the name. As he comes through outer zone 2 there, or outer zone 1, as he transitions through the manager section, out, up into outer zone 2, around outer zone 3, nice and tidy here in this E92, very nice. As he misses outer zone 4 just about, sets him up outer zone 5 and comes through outer zone 6, slightly wide again and across the line. A lot of guys, that outer zone 6 I think is going to be a really, really big defining point of this track along with that initiation.
Definitely. I'm not too sure how they're going to be looking at that initiation as well, as he did touch the curb, so it's all dependent on whether the judges want to be seeing him on that curb. But as you can see, his outside line wasn't the best here, just kind of pulling in a bit. This is the point where you need to start pulling in towards the mid-track and then washing out back wide, which unfortunately, just because he was offline further into that corner, it just didn't give him the right setup for the rest of that. But as you can see, he gets out of 6 just really nicely, and then he just pulls too far out. So there's just a lot of moments there where he needs to clean up his line.
Yeah, maybe just dropping one wheel outside outer zone 6 there, but completely missing outer zone 4 just for dropping that little bit in. The judges do say in the briefing, like, they do want you to come a little bit off the outer edge of the track, maybe just wide of middle of the track there, but they want you to get straight back out to outer zone 4 as soon as possible. So it is a really fine line as we see the score come in as a 64 here for Mateusz, dropping him into third position today so far. As we go back to the line, who do we have on the line, Brandon?
We have, so we have one of the, so we were talking about the Fabershaks in the previous season, and this is the other one that we were talking about. You're gonna have to help me with this one.
This is Wojtek Fabershak.
Wojtek, that's it. You have to excuse the difficulties I'm gonna have with pronunciation, but Wojtek in this beautiful S15, and I love the color scheme of this as well. Big, nice clutch kick initiation there with a lot of speed coming through out of zone 1. The big angle there. Maybe a little bit too much. We'll have to see. As you can see, that angle just not setting him up correctly to hit the right outside line. But manages to bring it around, hitting out of 4 perfectly there as he transitions around now into 5. Bit of a check-up. Maybe the handbrake just unsettling the car a bit too much, but hits out of 6 perfectly and across the line. Not a bad run for your first.
Yeah, that was a very good run there. Lots of commitment, lots of fluidity there. But again, there's a few little hesitations and shake-ups. Initiation was a little bit kind of hesitant, maybe.
I'd say it was a bit late.
As he comes through that Manji section, a little bit close to the cones there. The judges really want you to place that car mid-track as he drops a wheel onto the curb there. And dropping that wheel onto the curb there just brings him that ever so slightly off outer zone 3 as he comes around into outer zone 4. Just, again, perfect through here. But once he transitions here after outer zone 5, gets to Z-cell, and then has a bit of a wobble, the car just grips up when he touches that handbrake. But that wobble decells him enough to get perfectly through 6. So this is a really big balanced section of the track, and you really need to hit it perfectly. Otherwise, you are going to end up with problems down the line. As we get the score in, it was a 58 for Wojtek Fabershak. And we will see him back for his second run later on in qualifying.
Indeed. Very, very clean in his style. Maybe just, unfortunately, obviously that wobble, I think for the second one, all he's got to do is just handbrake a little bit later. Just a little bit.
So now we have our first lady driver of the semi-pro class. We have Magdalena Malasiznia. I'm putting a guess there as she leaves the line. There's a lovely big weight transfer, flick entry, misses inner clip 1, but perfectly out to outer zone 2 there. She breaks back through that Manji section, just misses that outer clip there, and goes through outer zone 3, around into outer zone 4, dropping a wheel there as she flicks back into this technical part of the course, maybe just dropping half a wheel there, and getting outer zone 6. Wow, that had a lot of intensity in that run, Brandon.
Definitely, as you can see on the initiation, a lot of style, a lot of flair, but unfortunately, I think it was just a bit too late, and obviously she ended up missing inner clip 1, but managed to collect out of zone 1 perfectly. A lot of impacts in this run. She had plenty of speed to spare, and just unfortunately the line wasn't quite there. Obviously the initiation sets you up for the entire track, and unfortunately the initiation just wasn't quite there, and she's had to kind of wheel the run back in. As you can see, she just drops a tire on the curb on out of zone 4 there. Comes around with a lot of speed for out of 5, which was absolutely incredible. Maybe a bit too shallow on the line coming through here as he just collects a tire into 6. Just needs to clean. Once again, it is going to be a trend of cleaning up the line on their second runs, I think, as they get to grips with the track. Obviously, they've had plenty of practice as well, but when you're going into qualifying, that is the hardest part. That is where all the demons are. It's a mental battle from there on, as a lot of drivers will be able to tell you, myself included, that qualifying is a very daunting place. But Magdalena gets us 53 on the board, so not too bad compared to what could have happened, but we'll have to see how she improves in her second run.
Yeah, absolutely. Very scrappy but tidy run at the same time. As we go back to the line, we have...
This is a cool car. This is a very cool car.
Bartholomew, I'm sorry, I can't. in that BMW E82, as he leaves the line, lights go green. Beautiful car, this gorgeous livery, very aggressive. Oh, as he just flicks that car very aggressively, misses outer zone one there, flicks back through the Manji section, just about clipped outer zone 2, and around in through outer zone 3, and as he's coming around here now, a lot of speed out of this car as we flick back down into sector 4 here, and just about gets that. Wow, that was a lot of speed in that run. Just a few little bits again. I think these first runs, people are just trying to test the waters, see what kind of grip levels are out there, see what they can do, what they can't do. And to me, that run looks like figuring out how fast this man can get through the rest of this track and where he has to sacrifice speed to get out onto that line. So we'll wait for the score to be dropped in.
Unfortunately, oh yeah, it is insanely beautiful and it is fast, as you can see. But obviously what you don't want to be doing is trying to get through the track as fast as you can, because in the end that will sacrifice your line, your commitment, your style. Like, it could be very committed but not in the right way, so you've got to balance it with angle and fluidity. And obviously there was a lot of speed, a lot of impact, but just not quite what we wanted to see with the line and the angle. There was a lot of shallow angle throughout that run. Very committed though, very, very committed. He's just got to figure out where he needs to be for the second run, and hopefully his spot is going to be relaying all of that information to him. But it's a 70, so that puts him in second so far. So we're not judges. We
are definitely not judges.
That is the hard part. I would not want to be one of them. So obviously the impact and the commitment is what the judges liked about that run. So he will be moving into second place. So hopefully he can make an improvement for the second run. Ooh,
definitely getting all the style points here as we come back to the line and we see a beautiful S14 on the line. And that will be, again, I'm gonna make a hames of this, but
Maximilian
Maikos in this beautiful ECU Master branded S14 as he fires through initiation, through 1 and 2, through the Manji section. He comes around to outer zone 2, around into outer zone 3. Very, very fast this run. Oh my god, this guy is absolutely pedaling this car as he comes down into the last section here, as he comes around and perfectly hits both those clips that everybody seems to be struggling with that bank and everything. Very, very intense run there from Maximilian. Look at this,
that
Brandon.
Was
perfect through initiation there and the both first clips.
That is an incredible looking car, as well as the driver just being absolutely on it. What a first run. Loads of style, lots of angle, plenty of speed. As you can see, he had an 80 kilometer an hour initiation, and that car just hits something different. It reminds me of Becky Evans' car when she first unveiled her first livery for it.
Yeah.
But as an S14,
he's not scared to pedal that car either.
Oh no, that car has been pushed. Definitely could have been a bit tidy in some places, could have been deeper, but I could see this being a top scoring run.
Definitely just needs to clean up the line, get settled, but the rest of that, I'd say the style points there are off the charts for him. And the angle as well. Angle was perfect through there, in my opinion. And we see that reflected in a score of an 80 on the board for Maximilian Maikos. Drops him into first position. Brandon, that was incredible.
Yeah, honestly, perfect first runs to start with. Obviously, now he's just got to look at where he was for his second run and dial in that line, should I say, a little bit more. But we've got Michael in this S13, very nice delivery on that. Obviously you can see it's a bit dirtied up from practice, as no drift car is ever safe from being clean or dirty. Like they're going to get dirty at some point, but let's see what he can do for his first qualifying run as he comes in with a nice bit of speed, nice clutch kick initiation, going through inner one very nicely, but just misses out of zone 1, unfortunately, but now transitions through the mountain section into outer 2, just not being able to find the line, but manages to hit 3 very nicely there as he comes around into midsection now, hitting out 4 nicely, big transition going into out 5, plenty of commitment, just almost over angles and just dropping the tyre on out 6. Not bad,
Yeah, that was,
but definitely could have had more.
Definitely style points definitely being given there as he just misses that first outer zone as this Manji section quite committed through there. But what I really want to point out here is coming through this section right here. Look at the angle and the speed coming through that section is unbelievable. The car is fully loaded up on the left side there, absolutely pedaling that car, making sure he hits every clipping point he can as he fires around here. This over angling here, I don't think this is over angling. I think this is him using angle to drop the speed of the car, which is what David Callas said to us earlier on. That's what the judges are looking for. They don't mind seeing a little bit of foot brake, a little dab of the handbrake, but what they really want to see is the car being slowed down by the angle of the car. So we could see some fairly high scores here from the judges, definitely with angle and definitely, I think, with style. Now, line again will always be there to be tidied up, but definitely a very impactful run, a lot of flair, a lot of smoke, a lot of angles. So as we see, 69 on the board drops him into 4th position for Michał Gonzalewski.
Oh, it's Michał?
Michał, yeah.
Ah, so I said that completely wrong. I apologise, Michał.
Well, if he was in Ireland, we call him Michael, like, but...
Oh,
so as we go back to the line, we have Detmer Patrick, or Patrick Detmer even. Dietmar.
That is an incredible...
Wow.
That is an incredible looking car as we have him come across the line. Very, very colourful with that orange, white and black, but lovely flick initiation there, hitting in a clip 1. Perfect through 2. Or should I say out of zone 1. Coming around now into outer 2. Maybe could have been a bit deeper. Manages to keep the nice wide line as he goes through out of zone 3. Keeping it very nice. Lots of speed, lots of angle. Perfect through out of zone 4. Big transition coming around. Out of 5, just filling it perfectly. Coming around to out of 6. Bang on the line. And what a first run. Patrick,
that's the best one we've seen all day, I think. That is a very, very top run there. That's pretty much what the judges are looking for in every single section of this track. Perfect initiation through inner clip 1. Drags the car, floats it out to outer zone 1, flicks it back perfectly in the middle between the cones and the outer edge of the track as he flicks back. Just slightly, ever so slightly, decels the car to get through into that second outer zone and carry the speed around through to outer zone 3. He drops back in, just falls away from the outer edge of the track, and then works the car back out to outer zone 4 here. And the transition back here, lovely, snappy transition as he gets back down through outer zone 5 and around here, dials on just enough angle to keep himself into outer zone 6 and doesn't even drop a wheel, Brandon. That is the best run I think I've seen all day.
Yeah, no, that was incredible. What a first run for Patrick there. And there was literally only one spot really that I could fault him, which was outer zone 2. Really, just a bit shallow. So really, it's just a bit more commitment into there, keeping the outside line and hitting out zone 3 a bit quick, a bit nicer. But with an 89, putting him in first place. What a first run there from the national driver, Patrick. Well, he's definitely going to be happy with that.
Yeah, as we move back to the line, we've got another E82 on the line. These are very popular chassis seeming. As we have Damien Vitek on the line in that beautiful grey. I love that. Just full grey car. BMW E82 as he leaves the line and starts to initiate. A little bit of a late initiation and straightens, misses the inner clip 1 and straightens. As that'll be the end of that run there. He will not be a happy man about that.
No, you can see his hands went up. He was just like, what was that? What am I doing? And, oh, it looks like something's in... Oh, he's dragging something with him. That is for sure. Something looks like it's got caught in that wheel well. very unfortunate there for Damien. Just that initiation wasn't the one he wanted, and it just ended up shutting down the run. So that will be a 0 on the board for him for his first run, but hopefully he's going to have to now put it all on the line for the second run.
Absolutely. I don't know, did he go to initiate and not have the power down right? As we get that official, that's 0 on the board for Damien. Very unfortunate for him. I'm not too sure what happened there. I don't know, did he just get it wrong, or did something happen with the car? There was a misfire, was any of these things. All we can do is just think what happened. We don't actually know. So unfortunately, that will be a 0 on the board for him as we move it back to the line. And we have Wojtek. Oh my God, here we go. Wojtek Godzovic.
This car is definitely something. I mean, this reminds me of you know Stu's E36.
I do know Stuart McKellen's E36. Very similar layout here with the livery as he initiates through the initiation into inner clip 1 out to outer zone 1. Very nice here. Lots of angle through the Manji section as he flicks it back. Just dropping half a wheel there out to outer zone 2. Just about grabs outer zone 3, I think, as he moves it to outer zone 4 midway through that, and he flicks it back to outer zone 5 and around. And over rotates the car, just about getting out to 6. That is unfortunate. He would have had some good points on the board there for that run. Unfortunately, that will be a 0. But look at this, Brandon. The initiation here was perfect.
Yeah, it just seems like from here, it started to all fall apart. As you can see, he just maybe transitioned, got too much angle on the Manji and just didn't have the right momentum to set up for the next corner. As you can see there, going into a 0. I've just realized, I'm pretty sure that could be the M3 GTR kit. I've just thought about it. That is incredible. You never see them around.
I am looking at my notes here, and it is an M3 GTR kit. That is nuts.
It's quite rare to see one of those around.
And
any
big
car.
respect running the regular BMW E36 wheels on the front there. Yeah. I'm a big fan of that.
It is definitely something. Very, very nice car, as we have this very interesting E92 with Bartosz in the driver's seat.
Ostolowski.
Yeah.
This is our last driver of before we head back to the line of our first driver, which will be Camille Zachary.
Has it been 15 already?
This is 15 already, Brandon. So this is our last driver before we go back and do everybody's second runs.
Indeed. So now we have our start line marshal getting ready to send Bartosz down the line as the lights go green. That big E92 looking really, really nice. Big flick initiation there. Hitting inner clip 1 very nicely. Could have been a bit deeper in outside zone 2. Big angle in the transition. Pulling it around now into out of 2. Looking very nice through out of 3. Nice wide line. Maybe dropping the tyre there as he comes around now into outside zone 4. Very nice, fulfilling it very, very nicely. Going to out of 5. Maybe dropping the tyre once again, but manages to get a power on through out of 6. Very nice line, but maybe just a little bit too wide.
Yeah, very tidy run here from Bartosz as he flicks perfectly through that initiation. Just not on the outer edge of the curb as he comes through inner 1 and outer 1. Flicks back here. The angle was extraordinary here coming through that, and he flicks it back, but that big angle might have just made his transition that bit later as he comes around through to outer 3 here. Carries the speed, maybe just dropping a tyre there, maybe half a tyre. Dropping that little bit shallower into the track as he has to shallow up some angle there to get to outer zone 4 properly and not drop a wheel. As he flicks it back then to outer zone 5, definitely dropping a wheel there on the outer edge of the track as he comes around through to outer 6, and again just dropping half a wheel across there. So we'll see what the judges make of that. I think that will be quite high scoring. The impact from that run was very good. I think it was very committed, very high speed. Few bits, again, line is going to be the killer for these guys on this track. A lot of things to tidy up on their second runs, but I think as everybody's first runs get through, I'm ecstatic. I think this is great. I'm a big fan of DMP so far.
Definitely, and we are celebrating 15 years of DMP as well. 15 years of smoke, and it's been an incredible run so far in DMP's history. And it's so nice
definitely.
to have everyone around supporting the series. And now, obviously, I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've had English commentary for DMP. So it is a great honor to be a part of this, have the opportunity to bring an English-speaking side to this amazing championship. As you can see, a 69 there, Bartos, bringing him at 5th place. So not too shabby at all. I'm pretty sure Bartos is the one that has the shoulder and leg controls.
Is. Yeah,
incredible.
He is. I was just about to mention that there. I knew the name from somewhere. So yeah, Bartos driving the steering wheel with his foot and has shoulder and leg controls for driving that car, which is very, very impressive, I must say. Fair play to him for doing that. And again, great score on the board from him as we move back to the line to Camille's Zachary in that 200SX S13 there, as he flicks lovely through the initiation, just about misses outer zone 1 and inner zone 1 and outer zone 1. As he flicks back here, just drops a wheel onto the curb as he comes through outer zone 2 and around the corner to outer zone 3, perfect through there as he comes around outer zone 4, lovely through there, flicks it back to outer zone 5, just dropping a wheel there and comes around the bank to outer zone 6. Wow. Better than his first run, I think, Brandon. But again, few little bits on the line that he need to clean up.
Definitely. Obviously, you can see they're just hitting the first in the clip, completely missing in out of zone 1. But managed just to slowly bring things back together. Obviously, as he comes around into the transition for outer 2, just hitting the curb there, which is not what the judges want to see. Unfortunately, it's one of those where there was a lot of commitment. He had to put everything on the line. But it didn't seem to work. And unfortunately, this track is very good at punishing drivers for a poor line. And as you can see, gets through out of 5 very nicely, but once again, just a bit too deep, which then doesn't really set him up correctly for out of 6. And he has to really work to get it through there. So we'll have to see what that reflects in the score.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully it is better than his first, and it isn't, unfortunately. It's 1 point lower, so 69 in his first run and a 68 in his second. So 5th at the moment. Hopefully, well, he will get into the show because it's top 16 and we only have 15 drivers. So our number 1 qualifier should get a bye run in our top 16. As we move it back to the line, we have Zamfir Herohi on the line from Ukraine in that beautiful E46.
That is a stunning car. It is
I love that.
Obviously, he's got a 0 on his first run, so we'll have to see what he can do with his second. As the lights get ready, the start line marshal sends him down. Lights go green. Here we go. Second run in this beautiful E46. Big flick there. Coming around, can he get through inner clip 1? Yes, he can. Comes in just a bit shallow on outside zone 1, 76 kilometers an hour entry. So not as quick as what other people have been doing so far, but manages to collect out of clip 3 decently well. I couldn't really see the back tires, but it seems to be setting up for 4 very nicely. Big transition now into out of 5. Very nice as he comes around to outside zone 6. Just going too deep once again and across the line.
Yeah, Zamfir there. Like you were saying, Brandon, not as quick as everybody else, but again, he is running one of the lower horsepower cars on the grid, only about 500 horsepower. I think the lowest horsepower car we have on the grid is about 480. So definitely not got the same amount of power as some of the other drivers on track, but again, still doing an incredible job in that E46 to get around this tight technical track where a lot of times you would really like a lot more power to get out to zones and really kind of having a lot more power can be like a safety net, really, for if you're coming into a zone, you think you're going a bit wide, you can give it a few kicks of the clutch, try grip up the rear of that car to get that power down and send you a little bit forward into the track. But yeah, definitely playing with a little bit less power than everybody else, and that would indicate that slower initiation speed, and a 68 on his second run. So that is dropping him into 8th position and we will see him in the show tomorrow.
Definitely. I mean, definitely the advantages of being in an E46 with which has a lot of mechanical grip mixed with the lower power. He's going to have a lot of grip. We have Vaclav Burin in this E92, I do believe. Looking, it's a lot more stock looking compared to the rest of the grid, but he's coming in, sending it hard through inner clip 1. Very nice through outer clip 2, proving that this car could do bits as he transitions now through the Manji into outer clip 2. Just maybe a bit shallow there, but manages to clip 3 very nicely. Has to get that nice outside line, bringing it out to outer 4. Big transition now coming around into outside time 5. Beautiful through there as it comes around into 6. Very nice. What a run. Definitely an improvement from his first.
Yeah, definitely 100%. As he got, I think I saw it was 81 kilometers an hour initiation speed there as he comes lovely through inner clip 1 and collects the second clip quite nicely as he comes through the Manji section. Lots of angle, very close to the outer edge of the track there. Judges will probably mark him on that as he just about misses the curb there before outer zone 2, comes around to outer zone 3, just about collecting it. And again,
I'd say you did a really good job.
This is a very tidy job from Burian here. Very impactful. A lot of getting the job done, I will say, is what I think of that run. Definitely getting the job done there. As it comes around here now, the judges were mentioning they don't want to see angles shallowed out or put on really quickly, and that was a 79 on the board for that young man there. Drops him into third position, and someone needs to get me his age, because to be driving like that at his age is unbelievable. We're seeing a lot of young talented drivers come up through the ranks across the world at the moment. Even if we were looking last night at Cameron Sorensen over in Formula Drift over in New Jersey, we got like Conor Falvey as well coming up through Drift Masters, and then a lot in the Irish Championship, a lot in the UK Championships. And across the board, really, across Europe, we have a lot of young, talented drivers coming through, and he is definitely one to watch for the future, I think.
Definitely, and we've got Ivan Subjuk now on the line in that E46, matching with his teammate. Very nice set of cars, to be honest. Their team branding is very on point. As you can see there, we've got a Motul branded start line gate. Big thank you for them for being a partner with us this season and in previous seasons. They've been essential. As we now have Ivan leave the line as the tyres absolutely screech coming towards this initiation. Nice clutch kick and slight flick initiation, hitting inner clip 1 very nicely. Outer clip 2 very nicely fulfilled as he comes around. Maybe a bit of a check up there going into outside zone 2. But manages to get into 3 decently well, keeps that line nice and wide. Is it going to be too deep? Yes, he just manages to get nice and tidy into outer 4, keeping it through outer 5 very nicely as he comes through outer 6 and across the line. Very low angled in some places, I'd say.
Yeah, it's kind of, again, like the last one, just getting it done as much as possible. It's tidy through here. Very kind of tight to that outer edge of the track again, and as you said, a little bit of a check up there before outer zone 2 as he comes around into 3, drops angle, has a bit of a waver. As he comes around to outer zone 4, then we think he's gone a bit wide, and has he gone a bit wide there? Just about grabbing it, wow, and maybe just dropping half tire, but it's straight in there. Check up, waiver, whatever you want to call it. I would call that a little bit of a straight in there, so the judges will be having a look at that and collecting outer zone 6 nicely there as well and across the line. We will see what the scores reflect. That quite scrappy run there as we see a 63, better than his first run. If you remember, he did drop a wheel in that Manji section in his first run where I thought he DB'd a tire, clearly not, but yeah, he looking there, a few scrappy bits, but again, he is in the show, so we will run it back to the line to Mateusz Wojciechowski. I'm gonna have to guess that.
I'm not even going to try, but Mateusz coming in with that very brightly coloured E92. Is there going to be an improvement in this run? Big clutch kick initiation going through in the clip 1 very nicely. Collects out of 2 or out of 1 perfectly. I've got to get that one down. As we have in a clip 2 now, doing a very nice job. Maybe could have been a bit deeper there, but manages to get into out of 3. Very nice, keeping it nice and wide as he comes around for outside zone 4. Not looking too bad. Big transition as he comes around, collects outside 5, right on the outside line, where they want to see him, collecting 6 perfectly and across the line. Good improvement, I would say.
Big improvements here from Mateusz. As you can see, coming into that initiation point, little bit of a handbrake entry there. Judges will be looking for that weight transfer or clutch kick entry. Doesn't matter as he comes through inner clip 1 and outer zone 1, very nice and tidy through there. Little less angle than others in that Monji section as he comes into outer zone 2 and around, nice and perfect here. We can move around to outer zone 3. He collects that very nicely. Again, not a huge amount of angle in some of these guys. Again, this could be down to power, it could be many things. This is semi-pro at the end of the day. These guys are not professionals yet. We will see a few of them maybe move up to pro at the end of the season, as we see a chunk of rubber thrown at the camera there as he collects outer zone 6 there. We will see what the score drops in at, and that is a 73 on the board for Mateusz, and that'll drop him into 4th position at the moment. We will see by the end where everybody lands, but very, very good improvement there for his second qualifying run. As we move back to the line to Wojtek Fabiszek, who is in that beautiful, beautiful S15 there. Really, really like that car. As we wait for the start line marshal to give the word and send him down the track towards initiation. I think we can have a very fast initiation here, Brandon.
Oh yeah, definitely. Obviously, Wojtek looking very good in his first run, but obviously it was a 58, so there's a lot to be improved on. As we have the lights go green, that S15 is going to be getting sent down, and it's looking mean. Here we go for his second run. Big clutch kick initiation. Getting through inside 1, very nice, as well as outside zone 1. Big transition there, lots of angle, lots of speed. Gets into outside zone 2 very nicely, going through 3, looking very good. Nice consistent angle, fluidity, and a lot of speed once again as he comes around 5. Another bit of a wobble there going into out of 5, but manages to collect himself and get through out of 6 and across the line. Not too shabby, but definitely a couple of places where he wavered.
Yeah, definitely think there could be an improvement on a score there from a 58 as an initiation with a lovely clutch kick entry. Maybe a little bit late as he comes through inner clip 1 there and outer zone 1 very nicely. Coming through this Manji section, piles on a huge amount of angle and transitions back. Now he does run a wheel on this curb and gets into outer zone 2, so judges could be deducting for that as he holds that nice wide line, drops in shallow a little, cuts a little bit of angle there, and brings himself down mid-track to get himself out to outer zone 4 and collects that clip very, very nicely. Now here there was a little bit of a waiver, a bit of a checkup. We did see that in his first run as well, but I reckon it was less than that first run, so hopefully he can clean that up for battles as he collects clip 6 and across the line. So we'll see what the judges make of that, and it is better. It's a 65, which drops him into 10th position for Wojtek Fabiszek in that beautiful, beautiful S15. And you can see the line is fairly dialed there, but lacking in the style, which would come down to fluidity and commitment.
Definitely, but now we have Magdalena back at the line, representing the female scene of drifters, and it's good to see more female drivers coming around. Obviously, we had Amanda Sorensen in Pro Spec yesterday at FD, and now we have Magdalena in semi-pro here in DMP. But here we go, in that S15, you can hear the sequential gearbox. The straight cut gears just absolutely whining. Lots of speed coming into that initiation, coming around on the transition as he transitions now into outer 2. Looking very fast, but just not quite there on the line, but manages to get lovely on the line through outer 3. Lots of speed coming into outer 4. Transitions, big flick, but just drops as he comes through out of 5 and just manages to collect 6. But unfortunately, she's just a little bit scrappy there going through that line.
Yeah, definitely. Like, again, this is a big balancing act between where you want to go. Do you want to go for fully committed and go fully fluid? It's very hard to do two at once unless you are top dog, but perfect here now, but just about missing clip 2 there, outer zone 2, as she comes around, perfectly clips outer zone 3, and from here on was fairly sweet up until that little bit of a wheel drop at outer zone 5. Car's absolutely planted, and she gives us a really big flick here, just ever so slightly drops a wheel into the dirt there. Now the judges will mark down on that because she was a good bit off her rear wheels from the line there, and as she crosses the line there, we'll see what the judges make of that. I think that was a very good run, but it's a 0 on the board for Magdalena, obviously dropping 2 wheels there at some point. We will see her in battles tomorrow anyway. She is in 12th position. She has a run on the board, so we will see her tomorrow in battle action.
Very unfortunate. It was just another case of the car just kind of driving where it wants to drive, as she had a lot of speed, but just unfortunately couldn't keep the line going. But now we have this insane E82 and started with a 70 on the board. I am really struggling to even comprehend his name, unfortunately, but a big initiation there going into outer zone 1. Lots of grip. This is looking very planted. Lots of speed. Oh my word. Look at that. Going through outer 2. Oh, just dropping a tire coming into outer 2, into 3, but manages to keep it going around into outer 4. Manages to get into 4. Transitioning now into 5. Lots of speed. Lots of commitment. This is insane how fast he's getting through this course. But just dropping on outer 6. Wow. That was a crazy
very impactful run there. One of the higher horsepower cars on the grid here. This car run about 700 horsepower in a semi-pro class, which is huge power to be running this class. A lot of power, but again, few little bits where he could tidy up on line, like just here, just dropping that wheel across that outer edge of the track, coming in through outer zone 3 as he comes around into outer zone 4. Drops away nicely. That's where the judges want the car to be positioned, coming across that section. As he comes through outer zone 4, flicks the car back to outer zone 5, has a bit of a check up there, a bit of a handbrake drag to get that car planted to come across, but that handbrake drag dragging him very wide towards 6 and across the line. Then we will see where that lands him for the rest of the track of the grid.
I really like that run.
So do
love how it was really gripped up, and it was just so impactful. And
we're seeing a lot of commitment from these semi-pro drivers here today.
Oh yeah,
definitely wanting to make a name for themselves out here at this beautiful Autodrom Słomczyn. Beautiful track, beautiful weather. It looks like right here in Ireland, it is just hot. And it's overcast, and it's not really sunny, it's just warm. So
yeah,
we will see how the grip levels play out for the rest of qualifying. I would say as more rubber gets laid down on that track, the grip levels will improve, and not doing the same impact as his first run, dropping 3 points to a 67 from a 70. That still holds him in 5th position for Bartolomej. As we move back to the line to this beautiful, beautiful S14 here. Maximilian Maikos here. Brandon, I think this has to be one of my favorite S14s in the world. This is such a beautiful car.
It's so tidy. Genuinely, like I really want to see someone remake this car in a Saturday Corsa, to be honest. That would be awesome. I think you might have to be honest.
I think I might have to.
Here we go, as he fires down the line. Can we see an improvement to his first score? Nice flick initiation there. Plenty of commitment going through inner clip 1. Outer zone 1, very nicely fulfilled. 79 kilometers an hour in initiation. Oh, just missing outside zone 2, but manages to get back and nice and wide for 3. Coming around now with lots of speed and a lot, pinning the throttle down to the floor, going through 4. Big transition, bit of a handbrake drag though, coming through outside zone 5, but manages to get around into 6 very nicely and across the line. Beautiful car, beautiful driving. Just maybe a bit of a hiccup going into outer 5 with that handbrake drag. I could see that really harming his score.
Yeah, well, I don't know if the judges will think that that's a big thing because, like they said, they do want the car to be slowed down with angle, but he did manage to clip 6 very nicely. Now, just that little bit on outer zone 2, just missing it, but it fixes that, gets back online through 3 and 4. But I think this little bit of a handbrake track, yes, he'll get a few deductions, but I think it's worth it in the end because he is collecting that outer zone 6 and that last sector of the track quite nicely there. And he is within the decel zone there. There is a decel zone there, and when he disengaged the handbrake, he was just coming out of it. So we will see what the judges make of that. I think that could be quite a high scoring run there, as it is the same as his first, and he holds second position. 280s. Consistency is key for Maximilian here, as he sits in second in that beautiful, beautiful ECU Master S14.
I mean,
again,
I'm not gonna
look
lie.
at line there, 30 out of 40. Line was very good. That was his highest marking there. And think of it, if he just got that outer zone 2, what would have happened there?
Definitely, Kian. And now we have, oh God, how is it that you said this name? Because obviously we say Michael. Oh, okay, Miha. Because when I see it, I keep thinking Michael. But that's just the inner Brit in me, just thinking Michael. It's the most British name ever.
We have Miho Godlewski here as he leaves the line and absolutely smashes that cone out of the way and initiations into the first inner clip there, out onto the outer zone there, lovely through there. Oh, just a little bit wide in that Manji section as he comes through, misses clip outer zone 2, just about grabs 3, coming around to outer zone 4. Will he drop tires? No, he won't. He grabs it perfectly, coming down, using that angle to slow the car 4-6 and gets across the line. That was very scrappy in the start of it, but then tidied it up for the last 2 sectors there. This initiation was wild.
I'd definitely say it could have been.
Zone 1.
I'd definitely like to add that it does look like he hesitated a bit on the initiations. We'll have to see what the judges think of that, as they want fully committed initiations. But look at that, just noticing that he wasn't going to be collecting that, so he started to dial on the angle, ready for out of 3, prepping for the rest of the corner. Just wasn't quite where he wanted to be, but once he collected 3, just managed to bring the car back out nicely for 4. And then this transition here, nice and controlled, getting through 5, fulfilling it nicely. And just watching those front wheels do the work as he gets the car onto angle, very nice through 6. And just not the strongest start to the run, but then brings it around for the rest of the course.
Yeah, so hopefully now we get a score through and we can see where he lands for our final qualifying grid. I think there's a few bits again to tidy up, and this will make it very interesting for battles again, because lead runs are on that qualifying run, and he does improve his score to a 76. So doing better than his first run, lands him into 4th position so far. So this grid really shaking up after these second runs, really gonna have some difference in everything else here when everybody is fully gridded up. We'll see who comes up against who in battles tomorrow morning. We go back to the line. We have Detmer Patrick, or Patrick Detmer here. Sorry, it's backwards on my list here. So, so Patrick Detmer in that beautiful E36. I love this car.
Yeah, no, it is stunning. One of my favourite cars on the grid in semi-pro so far. Lovely initiation, nice through inner clip 1, manages to collect 2. Could have been a bit deeper once again. That seems to be another place of contention for a lot of these points. Gets out of 2 very nicely. Very nice through 3, but just keeping it nice and wide. 4 foot to the floor as he transitions big into 5. Lovely indeed there. Maybe a bit too deep. Could have been half a time, but perfect 3-6 and across the line. Patrick, hats off to you, my brother. That was gorgeous. Yeah,
very impressive run there from Patrick as he flies in through inner clip 1 here, just about tagging that curb. Talking to the judges earlier on, they were saying that that curb will be a deduction. So as he transitions through the Manji section here, comes into outer zone 2, perfectly grabs that clip there as he comes around nice and wide, carrying out to outer zone 3. very nice here. Not a whole lot of wavering in the car. Very nice, smooth, fluid. It's exactly what the judges are looking for. Grabs that outer zone 4 there. As he comes through here, outer zone 5, just drops half a wheel, I think. And it's a lovely drone shot, giving us everything to see here, and perfectly grabbing 6 there. A lot of guys now on their second run starting to realize how much grip is on that banked corner, getting through 6 to get what they need to get done. So dropping points there, just going down to an 83 on his second run, but still sitting in first position there from his first run of an 89.
Definitely, so, that was he's very consistent. That is the main thing that we want to be seeing.
So and obviously who has a 0 on the line here, DMP2025. We will see what he can do this time round in that beautiful. I love that. I just love a full grey car. Something about it that just does it.
Good old Nardo grey. But I'm knocking the cone over there, but we'll have to see what he does with this initiation. Hopefully he manages to get through inner clip 1. Yes, he does. Nice. Through 2. Could have been a bit deeper on outer zone 1. But manages to beat a lot of flair, a lot of style. But unfortunately, it's just not the line there to contend with. As you can see, it's just getting through the course way too shallow there. He's got way too much grip. And unfortunately, he has to shut it down once again. Unfortunately there for Damien, that car is not performing the way he wants.
Yeah, it looks like there's a lot of grip in that car there, and those E82s do have a lot of mechanical grip anyway, so when you combine that with a really grippy tyre and the heat that's on the track at the moment, it's quite hot there, so you're just adding all these things to a car that has a lot of grip anyway, and that can be just prove very, very difficult. As you can see here, even he drops very inside here, and that could be down to the grip levels there on track, and you see there's a lot of rubber laid down. He's even dropping down to a section where there's not a whole lot of rubber, so he's getting 2 different styles of grip there in the front to the rear. So unfortunately that's a 0-0 for Damien, and we will see what happens there. So he is in 14th position currently. As we move it back to the line, we will see the beautiful E36 GTR kit of Wojtek. I'm not even going to attempt the second name. But yeah, this car really just beautiful. I love the GTR kits. I think they're just some of the nicest E36 kits you can get. As the lights go green here for Wojtek, powers up through the initiation here, goes to initiate, clutch kick initiation, just a slight dab of the handbrake there through to clip 1. Out to clip 2. Manji's lovely here through the Manji section, and just misses outer zone 2 there, and just maybe grabs outer zone 3 as he powers that E36 around to outer zone 4, transitions back to outer zone 5. Lovely here, just a few dabs of handbrake just to settle that car, and around outer zone 6 and across the line. Very good there. A few little corrections with the handbrake. I don't know if the judges are gonna like that now, but we'll see what the judges. We're not judges, Brian. We don't really know, but handbrake drags and just dabs of the handbrake to settle the car usually don't look well with judges. So we'll see here as we look at the replay here. Just misses outer zone 2. Works his way around to outer zone 3. Just ever so slightly misses it. Yeah, his rear wheel doesn't actually catch it there, but then sets himself up well onto outer zone 4 at this line. And then coming back to outer zone 5 into this transition, you can see that rear wheel's locking ever so slightly a couple of times there, even after the section. So I reckon there will be a deduction there for that, and just about grabs clip 6, very far shallow there to the inside of the track.
Definitely. At least the main thing is he's managed to get a run down on the board, got a score down. That is going to be really, really good for him going into the battles. It's also a mental thing. You don't want to be going into battles and knowing that you qualified with a 0-0. So 72 on the board, putting him in 6th. So hopefully we'll be able to see how he does in battles. Obviously, qualifying is where it's really nerve-wracking. So hopefully going into the battles, everyone will really step up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you do see it, like we've even seen an improvement already from run 1 to run 2 with everybody. As we go back to line to Bartosz Ostalowski even, in that BMW E92 with the shoulder controls and leg controls. So Bartos obviously losing his arms in a motorcycle accident, I believe. As
Very unfortunate.
Very unfortunate, but obviously not letting that hold him back at all. So he was running about 1,000 horsepower in the C92 as he leaves the line. Wait to see a huge initiation here from Bartos as he fires it through inner clip 1 and outer zone 1 through the Manji section. Massive angle there as he comes around to outer zone 2. Fires that car around outer zone 3. Look at this, Brandon. Outer zone 4 collects it perfectly. And into outer zone 5, using that angle to slow the car. And across the line goes Bartosz Ostalowski with an incredible run there in that E92. Brandon, that was incredible.
See, now we're getting in towards the last 2 runs of qualifying. Now we're seeing the big scores. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to put on a show for everyone. I'm going to go hard. And it's definitely rewarding him. As you can see, going into outer 2 perfectly there and just carrying that perfect outside line. That is the best I've seen so far coming through here. As it is just stunning. The car absolutely performing the way it needs to as well. As you can see, maybe could have been a bit deeper on outer 3. Or should I say outer 4. But coming around to outer 5, just maybe dropping a tyre there. But really nice performance there from this amazing driver. And obviously, I really hope this is a good score for him, as that was an incredible run.
Yeah, I'm really getting excited now to see what we can see in battles tomorrow, because if we see a lead run like that, you can't have a good chase run without a good lead run, and he drops in to second position with an 81 on the board for Bartosz Ostalowski there. And an incredible run there from that Polish driver, as that is semi-pro qualifying done.
Yes, I do think so. Yes, it is. So there you go. That is our top 10 of our qualifying standings. Obviously, there was 15 drivers, and it's a top 16. So we do have an almost full bracket for tomorrow already locked in. So everyone's going to be qualified. So now was the chance for them to kind of dial out their demons and start. Wow, is going to be intense. Obviously, semi-pro is going to be, it steps up every year. It always steps up. So I'm really excited for battles.
Yeah, absolutely. A few unbelievable runs here. A lot of unbelievable drivers. A lot of these drivers I've never even heard of myself. I have only really started researching this in recent months, but wow, this qualifying session for a semi-pro class is unbelievable. I'm very excited to see what we can do tomorrow, and even moving on to qualifying in pro later on is going to be huge.
Oh, definitely. And there's a lot of big names going into pro. As you can see in the paddock there, everyone's just kind of getting ready. You got a lot of spectators kind of just hanging out, seeing what's around. I do believe we do have display cars and a lot of things to see around the track as well. As you can see there, we are going to be doing our qualifying at around, I do believe I looked in the comments earlier, and we will be moving on to pro in about 20 minutes. So yeah, 1:30 in Polish time. So in our time, it will be 12:30.
Are we out?